What's up, guys? Welcome to Jew Whiskey. I'm Jeff. This is a channel where I offer my thoughts and opinions on a specific whiskey, and if you stick around to the end, I'll be giving it a score as well. If that sounds interesting, hit subscribe down below, and with that out of the way, let's jump into our review. Today we're talking about the Kilchoman 100% Barley 13th edition. Stick around. Alright, so it's the Kilchoman 100% Barley today. I've got the 13th edition here. This is the first time I've looked at any edition of this stuff, and it's actually the first time I've looked at a Kilchoman in a while on the channel, and I really don't know why that is because I thoroughly enjoy Kilchoman. These guys are a farm distillery. They have an interesting farmy and ashy quality to their distillate, so I think they're very unique. I think they're unlike a lot of their other peers on Islay, and they do have quite a few releases that I really like. And today we're going to find out if this one is among them, and it should be an interesting one because this is not like the other releases in the Kilchoman line. If the name 100% Islay didn't give it away, 100% of the production took place on Islay. So it's got pedigree, it's a pure blood, it hasn't been tainted by any of that disgusting second-class barley from the mainland. I don't know why I did that. Anyway, this stuff is made from Publican Barley. My bottle is from 2023. 13,000 bottles of this were made, and it's got a ppm of 20, which is less than what you'll find in the standard Kilchomans. If you want an explanation as to why that is, I suggest you go check out Whiskey Lock's review of this stuff. He goes into a lot more technical detail in his video than I will here, and he's got a great channel and an even greater beard. Anyway, this is a vatting of 44 bourbon barrels from the Buffalo Trace Distillery. Our whiskey should be between 8 and 10 years old. And unlike previous recent releases of the 100% Barley, our whiskey is entirely bourbon matured, which means there's no sherry in the mix. As I said, this is entirely made on Islay, so there's no Port Ellen maltings in here. This is entirely made with their own stuff from their own malting floor. And yeah, we've just got a lot of very good transparency here, and it's about as craft can be. So this should be an interesting one for enthusiasts, and it should be an interesting one for me as well. Obviously, I like my craft whiskeys, but I also like gentler peat, more subtle peat, and Kilchoman, I love them, but subtle peat they are not. So a 20 ppm, what was I saying? A 20 ppm peat level sounds interesting. Now, in terms of reception, this one has gone over really well with people. A lot of people are saying that because they took the sherry out of the mix and the fact that it's all bourbon matured, it's a nice return to form because earlier releases were also entirely bourbon matured, and I guess they went over pretty well. I didn't try those ones, but yeah, so people like it and they say it's yumsies in their tumsies. Nobody said that. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, that's enough blabbering. Let's not waste any more time. Let's jump into our review. In the meantime, if you'll kindly leave a like down below, that would be greatly appreciated. We've got a nice ABV of 50% here. As always with Kilchoman, this is non-chill filtered and our color is natural. For look, I think we've got a pretty nice bottle here. This one has more glass showing than their standard releases. The label is much smaller. And I think it's a little bit more sleek than their standard releases, but I like their standard releases too. Yeah, it looks good. 4.5 out of 5. It does state that it's non-chill filtered and natural color. It actually gives us the barley varietal on the bottle, which is a nice bonus. It doesn't say it's entirely bourbon matured on the bottle, although to be fair, it does say so on the sleeve. So we've got all the essential information here, as well as some extra stuff, and it looks good. On the nose, this gives us barley, honey, florals, salted caramel, gentle peat, green apples, pears. There's also lemon lime in here, so kind of like a 7-Up type note. There's herbs, there's pine forest here, and there's kind of a bitter woodiness to it. Really nice. On the palate and finish, this is full and textured. We get peat, vanilla, barley, white pepper, pears, smoke, brown sugar, herbs, moss, elderflower liqueur, salt, malt, ginger, white pepper, cereal, hay, and a green wet forest.
Hold on, is this guy saying he eats forests?
Yeah, I do. I eat forest. Just the whole thing. The whole thing. All of it. Damn, this is really different from any other Kilchoman I've ever tried. It's a totally different direction for them. Our peat here is much calmer, and it's kind of touted as being a more natural whiskey, but that actually really shines through in the taste. This stuff tastes like barley and herbs and wood and grass and elderflower and florals and cereal and forest. It's like it was plucked from the loins of Mother Nature herself. By the way, what are loins? Are loins legs? I think they're legs. No, loins are not legs. They are the meaty area around the base of your spine. So if you like the taste of Mother Nature, just nature in general, you're probably going to like this one. If you go into this expecting a typical Kilchoman big peaty kick, you might not like this one. I think a lot of your enjoyment is going to depend on what your expectations are going in, which is why I want to stress just how different this is from other Kilchomans and just different in general from other Islay whiskeys. Basically, this thing is a weirdo. It's not normal, but I love it anyway. And funny story, that's actually the exact phrase my girlfriend uses to introduce me to her friends. But yeah, I think this is really, really good stuff. I think it's special. It's not something that I loved at first. It did take me a while to kind of warm up to it, but the fact that it's not overly sweet, in fact, it's not a particularly sweet whiskey at all, the fact that we have a gentler peat here, and the fact that we have such a natural set of flavors really work in its favor, at least from my perspective. Now, I haven't had any of the recent bottlings, the ones with sherry in the mix, so I can't compare this to those ones. Most people seem pretty happy with this one being fully bourbon matured. Without the comparison, I can still say that I definitely do appreciate that this is fully bourbon matured. Like, I just think that bourbon casks make sense for this kind of whiskey just because it's so, like, natural and it's all crafty craft. So it's basically a whiskey purist's wet dream. The bourbon makes sense, and I think it works out perfectly. It works out perfectly for me anyway. Now, am I a purist? Not necessarily. There's lots of non-craft whiskeys I enjoy. I like a good cask influence. I'll basically put anything in my mouth. So I'm not really a purist. I'm more of a slut. But I do appreciate the purist's perspective. Fully bourbon matured, farm to glass, totally craft, no bells, no whistles, no drama. There's a straightforward honesty to this whiskey that does resonate with me. For score, I'm going to give this one 89. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and I think if you're curious to explore a different side of Kilchoman, this is a great one. I think it fits into a certain niche that seems more tailored to the purist, but that's not to say that it's so niche that this is an inaccessible whiskey, and I do think a lot of people out there are going to enjoy this one, even if it's not for everyone, so it is one to check out. Now, before we jump into value, I do want to say a quick thank you to all my patrons and all my channel members. Guys, thank you so much for all the help. And if you want to help keep the channel financially sustainable and completely independent, there are a number of ways that you can help. I've got both Patreon and PayPal linked below. Anything and everything helps. And again, a massive thank you to those of you who are already supporting the channel. Now let's talk value. I think our value is decent here. In my market, this is about the same price as their other special annual releases. I think last year, 2023 gave us like I think there was a cognac cask in there. I didn't try that, but I am interested. But yeah, no, this one costs about the same. It's about about $80 American. So roughly like 65 pounds. For that, I do think it's worth the money. It's not a cheap whiskey, and there are cheaper Kilchomans out there, and if you're looking for more of a dramatic peat experience, I would recommend those over this. Again, I think it all boils down to expectations, but if the description sounds good, yeah, it's worth the money. All right, that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to help out the channel, as I said, I've got Patreon and PayPal down below. And of course, I want to hear from you. Have you tried our Kilchoman 100% Islay? Have you tried the 13th edition? Have you tried any other editions? How do they compare? Finally, down below, you can also let me know what you want to see me review down the line, and I'll keep it in mind for my upcoming videos. Bye, guys.